Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And as the mid-season break is slowly coming to a close, Scump has made his thoughts very clear on the format frustrations that he's had so far this season, given the massive break we have right now and the lack of break at all between Major 1 and Major 2. Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that, all that good stuff. This is also from the Boston Breach, thought it was pretty cool actually. The Gunner party they had a few days ago with the players, other people were in attendance. It was cool stuff, no doubt. This also is going on today, though, the finals of, kind of the big event of the mid-season break, right? I guess, of course, we do have the Prime Classic in just over a week now, so thankfully, that's not too far away. I'm sure, some announcements are going to come out on the results of these trials, what these teams are deciding to do. But this was meant to be one of the other big things going on in the mid-season, this kind of Warzone tournament, which I was expecting to have pretty much all the pros and then some other, personalities, stuff like this. Basically not the case at all. Some pros are playing in this. Today, I'm pretty sure it's meant to be the final day of it. This was the overall format that was announced quite a while ago. Today, of course, being the final day, we've got Semi-A, Semi-B, so 20 teams are left, goes down to 10 teams for the finals, and then one team is going to win a share of $100,000, so pretty big prize pool, to be honest, but, barely any pros who've been playing in this one, to be honest. These are the teams we looked at over the last few days, but, Los Angeles Thieves might be favourites here with Tommy, Raider, Diamond, and Noobs. That's a pretty disgusting team, but, of course, look, it's Los Angeles Thieves, but, yes, none of their players are actually playing for the team, so it's like, why would I really bother watching, to be honest, especially when this is, I think, on the same time as the Valorant, Masters playoffs or whatever, so maybe, not quite as well done as it could have been, but interesting stuff. This also was going on, so today, of course, well, yesterday, I guess, was the 23rd of April, that being basically ZooMaa's, I guess, team decided to make this Happy ZooMaa Day. I thought it was kind of funny looking at this. I was like, is this seriously the most interesting thing going on this day? Like, surely there should be something going on right in the middle of the Call of Duty season. Should be something else happening other than just talking about the fact that it went 4-23 back in the day. I believe, just to tell the history of this quickly, I'm pretty sure this was Winners Round 1 at the World Championship 2017, because I guess it looks like that's where this image is from actually, because straight ripping the team with Dashi, they just qualified for champs, and Game 1 ZooMaa had a shocker. Of course, he's told this story plenty of times. I thought at the time, I remember watching this at the time, and the initial rumour that was circulating was that he had his aim assist off or something this entire game. Then he went on to explain that there was a light right above him, so you basically couldn't see his screen at all. He told them to turn it off for the upcoming maps, but of course, it was kind of unfortunate for him, right? They couldn't replay this Game 1. They just kind of cracked on. The next 3 maps, ZooMaa turned it around and had a great rest of the series, and FaZe ended up winning this one 3-1, but of course that's massive, right, because both these teams got out of their pools at the World Championship, and then Winners Round 1 is effectively the most important game you will play of the entire tournament, because if you go down to losers there, basically no chance you're going to make a run. We've seen that quite a few times in COD history where a big favourite will drop down to losers in Winners Round 1, and then, they won't make a run, or they'll make a substantial run, but not all the way to the grand finals or something like that. I guess the exception is 100 Thieves in Black Ops 4 champs, when they went to losers Round 1, made it all the way to the grand finals before losing to E-United. But, ZooMaa's kind of historic 4-23 performance. Of course, Clayster's 4-22 is arguably more famous. That happened, was it a League Play game or was it another game? I can't exactly remember. But it was back in Black Ops 3. It was a Stronghold CTF, and he went 4-22. I'm pretty sure it was a Stage 2 playoffs or something. It was an elimination game for FaZe going out of the tournament, and Clayster went 4-22. And, ZooMaa managed to one-up that, albeit with some kind of, other circumstances going on at the same time, pretty much a year later. So just to give ZooMaa his credit, Attach points out right here that after the 4-23, bit of a shocker, he did turn it around, and Enable, to be fair, was 12-17 this game with an AR, so he turned it around as well to 31-24. They spun it on their head. They ended up winning the series in the end, and as Crowder says, the true composure to go on and fry like that for the rest of the series. So yeah, fair play. National ZooMaa Day, I guess, is going to be a thing from now on as well, but maybe in future years there'll actually be something happening around these dates, which seemingly this year isn't exactly the case. So let's talk about what Optic have to say about this, because shots here, honestly, I saw this last night, I was like, what is going on here? I don't understand TikTok, I don't have TikTok, I don't look at it, but sometimes you'll just see TikTok stuff get posted on Twitter and other platforms. It's what is happening here? I just thought it was pretty funny, to be honest. And even the screenshot that Zero puts out, which is in right here, so this could be some potential good thumbnail imagery from going forward as well. But still, the Optic guys, of course, they had a great run through Major 1, through into Major 2, and Formal's about to suggest here in a second that the lack of gap between Major 1 and Major 2 might have been a contributing factor. Optic generally a very momentum-based team. I'm pretty sure there was a week off between the Major 1 qualifiers finishing and the start of Major 1, but straight after they won Major 1, they went into the Major 2 qualifiers with a 0 break at all. They literally just lifted, their non-existent trophy, I guess they lifted, didn't really lift a trophy, but they won the event, right, on that Sunday, I guess, and then, just 4 days later, straight back into more matches on that Friday, when they played, I'm pretty sure, Los Angeles Thieves that weekend for the Major 2 qualifiers. So, the momentum definitely carried them through, in the sense that, they had a massive series win streak, right, so the lack of gap that there really was between Major 1 1 Major 2 may have been kind of effective for them, but also at the same time, it's been frustrating to the players having to deal with that period of having no break at all and now having a massive break that really they didn't really ask for. So that's some of the frustration that's come out the last few days. Like, and Scump was making this clear a few days ago, right, that he was like, look, right now we've got this massive break, we don't play our games for quite some time. The players, I'm sure, want to consider this Prime Classic, which is going on in Columbus, as a pretty big event. It should be a bigger event than it is, but like the venue they've got for it is not the one they wanted. There's no crowd in attendance. It's single elimination. I'm sure the players are going to treat this almost like it should be considered way more important, to be honest, than the kickoff event, because that was right at the start of the year, should be a much less important event. But most players were coming out of that saying, yeah, it doesn't really matter, like, you know, good learning experience, all this type of stuff. And that's probably what the players see this as, because this event, there's no pro points on the line, or there's no like CDL points on the line for World Championship qualification, because there's amateur teams as well, so you can't really give those teams like CDL points because they're not actually in the CDL. So bit of a weird one. Like, ideally though, you make the prize pool bigger, like you give some more incentive for the teams to actually play this, because I'm pretty sure a lot of these teams are going to consider this event to effectively practice for Major 3, which isn't really what we probably want it to be. But Scump saying, look, at the end of the day, we've got this big break right now, and back in Major 1, there was like no break at all, and that really pissed him off.
Toronto Ultra Major dates are subject to change. Ticketing and venue announcement will be coming soon. Well, I mean, when is it?
June 2nd through 5th.
June 2nd. Oh, that's not that. I mean, that's not that far away, dude.
At least it's not in the winter.
I mean, well, we don't start matches again until like the second week of May. So then it's like, I don't know if I like the scheduling this year, because it's like once you start matches, it's 3 weeks straight and then major the next week. Like, you don't even get a break. It's like you play your split and then you go to the major.
I like it that way.
2 days later.
You don't like that?
Yeah, I feel like I'd like that.
Because dude, we won the first major and then had a league match the following.
But that's
Sunday.
not the same thing though that you're saying. That's saying that you're playing 2 majors back to back.
Yeah.
You rather have a break in between those matches.
I'd rather have like
between the major and then your next matches.
I'd rather have like a week break in between our league matches going into the major. So like if there's you need to work on, you can work on it before the major. You're not just.
But what if you were red hot and you're like, I just want to play like right now.
It could go both ways.
It can go both ways.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, next one. Shout out to De La Torre.
What you said was more like the no gap would piss me off.
So there was some explanation for this that was discussed. This, of course, just in a few days' time, the Prime Classic. These are the groups. Optica in the group with Florida, Minnesota, Rokkr, and Ultra Academy Europe. Interesting group, actually, just because Optica, of course, lost to Florida to go out of Major 2. They, of course, finished top 6. Minnesota, Rokkr, they beat them at that event, but Rokkr probably coming with a different team here. Like, there's definitely been some questions. What's going on with the Rokkr team? Yesterday, we saw they had Havoc, Attach, and Standy in a lobby together. Was their fourth Priestahh with even, like, Attach as a main, or, like, Priestahh as a main, or switching things up in that sense? Or was Priestahh going to be gone? Is MajorManiak in? Like, what's the situation there? So definitely a difficult time to figure out what they're going to do. Of course, they've got a few days to figure out what their plan is exactly. But yeah, many pros have kind of echoed the sentiment and frustrations that Scump has kind of shown. Like, you know, why at the end of the day do we have such a little gap at the start of the year, and now we've got a massive one, right? And Scump was kind of saying, look, what there should be is a gap before the major, as there was between the Major 1 qualifiers and the Major 1. Pretty sure that wasn't intentional. The idea is, I think, from the CDL is to go from the qualifiers straight into the major, then have a week off, then do the next set of majors, and then for some reason have a pretty big break for no reason in the middle of the season, when you could have another major cycle. But the players do need a little bit of time off, so maybe Scump is saying, look, have a week off before the major and a week off after the major, and then just keep doing that 5 times per year. That probably would make more sense, to be honest. The problem is, to a degree, you've got to figure out the venues for this stuff, and especially, like, as you can see here, even at the start of the year, when the Rokkr tournament was considered tentative, largely because they didn't actually have a venue set up, and the venue they got in the end was, you know, it was the casino type venue. It was pretty good, but, like, it definitely left something to be desired, as lots of people were talking about at that Major 2, but practically no break through the entirety of March, and now April is just a complete off month, effectively, that the players aren't too happy about. We even talked about the additional break after Major 3, which seemingly is getting reduced, but Merck actually kind of gives some explanation for this and says it all stems from venue openings. I'm assuming this is all the teams could find in those range of dates. Hopefully next year is already being underway, and the timeline makes Kevy happy, right? So that's kind of the thing here, that the teams have to plan out when they can actually get the venues free for these events, and therefore they've got to plan this several months in advance, if not, almost years in advance, to make sure they can actually get this venue locked down when they want it to be, therefore they can build the format around it. Like, look, I'm sure they probably could have found a better way to do this, and if they'd have done things earlier, they probably would have been in a better position than they are right now. But like, the pros generally think it's pretty unacceptable. Scump wasn't too happy about it at all, and this is one way to go about it, though, as I kind of mentioned the other day. But as you can see right here, so they're bringing back the Major 4 in New York by a week. That probably means the playoffs are going to, or the qualification games are going to come back by at least 1 week as well, if not 2 weeks, because the week before that, there's a chance Challengers event in Boston. So this is one way to go about it, potentially, is to do 3 weeks of qualification games, 1 week off, but in that week you have a Challengers event on the weekend, just, you know, to keep things ticking over. Some exciting stuff. It's good to watch Challengers events like this. Gives a great chance for players and teams and coaches to kind of scout talent as well. And then a week after that, you do the proper major event. Then you have another week off, then you go back into the game. So, like, that's kind of Scump's idea, is a week off before and after. Yes, the momentum might not be there, but it does give you some time to prepare for one of the major, right? Like, you know, generally in COD history, we've seen like a few weeks of matches effectively go on, then you have a bit of time off before the major, build a little bit of excitement about it, get the teams a few days to sort of fix some things going on, even though I think arguably the momentum from the fans' perspective is better when things just flow through. I think right now it's kind of, the CDL's messed up really, to be honest, because then we've gone from a point where we had so much momentum after Major 2, and all of that's effectively been lost, right? You want to keep things ticking over. If you leave too many gaps, like, you lose all that force. I think that's kind of what's going on with Halo right now. At least for me, it's kind of like a casual Halo competitive fan who's kind of interested, but like not all that much. It's like when there's nothing going on for so long, you lose a bit of interest. I thought it was the perfect time to mention this actually as well, because Hulk Hogan fan put this on the Reddit, which is like, well, this was the world tour that was announced when the CDL was incepted effectively, and this is what they were planning to do. Now, this went down, well, they didn't do this at all basically, but the plan was to do so many events every single week effectively. The teams were in a different country. Now, these actually weren't events. I'm pretty sure when this was first announced, these weren't events. These were actually just matches. Like, I can't believe they actually wanted to do this. Like, thankfully they turned things around very quickly, but the plan literally was to go to London, go to Atlanta for like 2 days effectively, and just play league games. So you would just go in front of the crowd, and there would be no winner at the end of the weekends. It was just like Optic would play Empire or something, and then there's a winner of the game. Okay, good job, lads. Okay, we're now 1-0 in the league, and then you fly off to another kind of weekend next time to do the same thing again. So there was no winner of these events initially. That's why they finally changed their minds and said, okay, yeah, instead of inviting 6 or 8 teams or whatever to just play league games for a weekend, we're actually going to do a proper tournament. Yes, there's only going to be 8 teams there, as there were for the home series last year, or back in Modern Warfare, of course, but still there were less events than this after they kind of rejigged it a bit. But, and of course, this probably wouldn't happen nowadays anyway. Like, the costs involved in this, flying all the teams all across the world, like every week effectively, to just go to another venue to play some league games, like, look, it's not going to happen. But, you know, still, just the way this was going to go, I mean, look how packed this was, right? You've got all the way from January, like right from the end of January, of course, we'd like it to start earlier. Hopefully next year it will, but every single weekend pretty much was packed out. Mid-season weekend, championship weekend, of course, ended up in August sometime. You've got a really packed out season, pretty much no breaks at all. And we go from the CDL planning something like this to all of a sudden having like nothing in the middle of the season. And like, you know, of course, the breaks are, you know, the pros want the breaks to a degree, but like nowhere near to the extent the CDL's done it. So in tweeting your perspective on all this stuff in the comment section below, just to finish out with this as well, looking back at the good times in Call of Duty past, Carly puts this on the timeline. It's the Kenny 4-piece versus Echo Fox. Pretty famous one if you guys have been around for a few years. But very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tells the YouTube gods it's a good video. I'd also like you to see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you next time.
3 seconds left for it. Xbox the closest now. Coming in from the top. It's Kenny. Kenny fights 2 from the bridge. Fights the 3rd as well. But inside the hard point, it's Aqua. It's a 1-on-1. Aqua versus Kenny. Kenny wins it. Kenny wins it. He wins the game.